Did a Golden Age earlier. I did a with JT, and then I did a bench clear kind of reaction to Ty's situation.
Yeah.
And then
we are live now, by the way, just to let you know.
Well, alrighty then.
Sometimes I like to go right in. Sometimes I have a countdowner. But tonight, since we are on short term, I know some other people. We were both on listening to Don talking a minute ago. So tonight we have baseball collector Mike Moynihan from his channel, Bench Clear. Anywhere else? That's what we were talking about.
Chasing Cardboard.
Chasing Cardboard.
Golden Age of Cardboard podcast. Julie's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm live."
Oh, too bad. I could have showed her my picture with Cal Ripken.
She would have loved that.
Oh, that's here. Wait a minute.
Where's Cal Ripken? Now she wants to know where Cal Ripken is.
Julie. I heard the name.
Oh, he's with Cal Ripken.
That's awesome. I have a picture with Cal Ripken. Where's my picture with Cal Ripken?
Yeah, see?
I think it's upstairs.
It's upstairs.
I love it when he's Cal Ripken stuff.
Okay.
Love it.
Hey, it's the guy from Chasing Cardboard, Reese said.
Yeah, Reese. So
actually I got that yesterday at a show. I got the oh, you're the guy from Chasing Cardboard. Yeah.
Oh, nice. That's great.
Hey, James. I haven't seen James on my channel in a while.
Really? Hey, man, James. I know he's probably watching. He watches everybody.
No, he watches. I haven't seen him comment in a while.
What's up, Three River? Thanks for the blue thumbs up. That means you watched my video. That's my thing for everybody. Hashtag blue thumbs up for Nats Man. He is watching tonight. I was going to have him on. He got his medication today for his issues, and it's knocking him on his butt. He said he's a little loopy. But we have Mike on to try to clear up some questions. He's only going to be on here about half the time, which I appreciate any time he had for us.
Well, busy guy.
I know. That's what we're talking about.
You can't give too much time to you because then everybody will ask, and you're my friend, and they're not. No. Try to seriously though. It's important to look if somebody asks you to be on, or who am I to say no? Like, I am no. Well, I'm just a dude,
so. Right? And I've told a story many times. When I first started. Now I'm on my 4th year, believe it or not. When I was probably 10 subscribers, I did reach out to you for the national, and you knew who I was when I showed up, talked to me, made sure I was at the YouTube thing, and that introduced me some people there. So great for the hobby. We have Blue Rock, so if anybody,
what I can do.
Yeah, I do appreciate that. That's my main story for Mike, and how when people ask me about you, that's the story that I give them.
I should have worn my Scott T-shirt.
That's okay. Last time I went home, my dad was wearing it around like a proud papa everywhere we went. He doesn't quite understand it like your dad does, but he just likes to be on and talk about baseball. But Mike's going to be on. So first question I have, Mike, is how are you coming along with your Amazing Spider-Man run? That was the first question.
Pretty good. I haven't bought any. I mean, I keep buying all the new ones that come out and I decided that I'm going to stop at 1,000.
Okay.
When they get to 1,000, which will still be a number of years.
Right.
Because they are, I got to pull up my spreadsheet here. Now you got me wondering in a good way. Collectors are collectors. And so like I collect, I don't know if you love Star Wars. I know that.
Yes.
And I do too. And Star Wars has comic books and there's a version of it. I'll grab one to show you. Like, this is the most recent one that I'll show. I got two of them right here. This one's just not bagged and boarded yet. Let me see. Hold on. I'm going to switch to this. So there's an artist that makes these old school, they look like the old action figures. They actually call it an action figure variant. And that's Luke as a Jedi. And they do all the characters. So there's Padme. So I'm doing all of those. And so, oh gosh, there are 153 of them, and I have 152 of them. Okay, I'm only missing a super rare one of Luke Skywalker. In terms of Spider-Man, they're on issue 902. And I have all of them but 48.
Okay. And I'm sure that's some like first time seeing certain villains.
Yeah. Well, I need all of them 1 through 10.
Okay. Yeah, I can imagine.
15. Actually, I think I have some older ones that aren't knocked off here, but pretty much everything under 50. Like I need 40 out of the first 50. So those are the ones, and I'll only buy those graded because I'm worried about. I don't want to buy one with a page missing or this or that, and not knowing that, which it's believe it or not, it's way more important to buy comic books graded if you're worried about value than cards, because there's so many pages and so many things that could be goofy. A card's a front and a back, right? That's kind of easy relative to comics. Comics are a whole different ball of wax, and so that's a long answer to your simple question, but
no, I love it. I just started a new thing on my channel called Nerdy Thursday, where I'm getting into this, and I knew when I asked you, I was like, I gotta ask you because you never really talk about it anymore on your channel, because now we haven't got back to any normalcy whatsoever in the card world. We're still fluctuating, but at least you can do things, and I think we're all overwhelmed by we could just do things now with that. So I was like, I gotta ask you about it, because that was my own person. And just I forgot about your Star Wars stuff. I do have in the 77 Star Wars comics, I have 1 through 10. I'm missing number 8, and they're from my childhood. So I was happy with it. I'm happy to say I own those.
Well, that's my comic. Cabinet back there, but my son's he's about to start making beasts and stuff for a living. And he's going to also do comics, and he's going to make me a comic one that's a little bit bigger. Mm-hmm. I want it to be custom made for comics. That works, but it's slightly awkward. It's shocking to me that it works at all. But I'm running out of room there. That's literally full. I've got stacks above that, up there and over here. Wait, that way, right there. It's all comics that I can't fit in the cabinet anymore. So I've got to get a bigger one. And I figured 1,000. That's a good place to just go. Okay, then I can start backfilling all the image variants because I'm trying to get every variant too. So it's not just one. There are actually, of the 902, the sad thing is I have actually a spreadsheet. There's 20.
Hey, wait a minute. Hold on. I just seen this over here.
Oh my gosh. He's not my friend anymore.
I'll give you my Disney Plus password.
Oh, Christmas binge of Star Wars. No, I'm there's 2,400 total Spider-Man comics if you include all the. And think of a variant on a comic like a color on a sports card, right? It's the same card, just a different color.
Right.
On a comic, a variant is just the same comic, just a different cover by a different artist. And so they're really cool too, most of them. So anyway, enough about comics.
Now let's get to the haul. So my biggest question was, like this week, Fred McGriff got in. A lot of people are very happy. Some people grumbling about it. I was happy. I think Fred McGriff had a nice career. I think a lot of people on that list are very, they're all of them probably could be in or make a good argument they should be in. I do have a couple of names we'll get to, and I want your opinion on. Now, those ones that were in for this one, are they doing it in different phases, I guess? So they doing like a more modern, and then they got I don't want to say vintage, but like the Dick Allens and that group.
Yeah, so this was called the contemporary era. It meets every 4 years. So Bonds and Clemens will not be up for consideration for another 4 years. And they change this shockingly often. You would think it'd be the same system for decades. That's simply not true.
Right.
And my belief is that they change it depending on who's going to be on the ballot. Honest to God. I think they wanted to get the Bonds. Nobody thought Bonds and Clemens. That's not true. A lot of people thought Bonds and Clemens would not get in on the first time on the Veterans Committee, but maybe down the road. Well, now it's 4 years until they have another shot, barring a different change. And then there's, the other eras cover different things. The unique thing now is they have an entire ballot, and I think it's next year, that's only for pioneers, managers, umpires, so non-players,
right?
Where that's the whole ballot, which means Lou Piniella is probably getting in. Joe West is probably going to get in. They wouldn't if they were included in just the players also during that same era,
right?
The exception of that was a Marvin Miller, who was long overdue for induction as a pioneer and a contributor. So, it's just it'll be interesting to see how it goes over the next few years. But that's what happened this year with the contemporary era. So basically 70s and 80s guys.
Mr. 2686 Forever. Never seen you comment here. Welcome to my channel. I'm glad you come by. If you named the best player right now in baseball into the Hall of Fame, people would grumble about it. It's just how it is. It's no rhyme or reason. That's why I always kind of laugh. But this year, I grew up with a lot of these players, right? Even in their minor, I got to see like Dale Murphy in the minors. So I had almost felt personal with this group going in for some reason. I mean, Mike, did you feel that way? Me and you are very close in age.
Yeah, I watched some or all of every player's career that was on the ballot this year. And that's really awesome, actually.
Yeah.
Because I did think McGriff was a Hall of Famer when I was watching him. And to me, Bonds is the best player I've ever seen play live. That's like, it's not even close.
Right.
And then you have, of course, Clemens is arguably one of the best top 5 pitchers of all time. Mm-hmm. And I did a whole rant on the whole steroids thing. There's no point, but Romero, A-Rod deserves to be in. Like, love him or hate him, was he a great ball player? Like, who cares if the guy was a jerk or like that? To me is
the jerk thing to me, and that's keeping out several players, right? So you got
Skilling,
Jeff Kent. You got these guys that were great at their position. Some of them led everything, and they were just jerks. I didn't know Jeff Kent was like that. I love Jeff Kent, being a Mets fan. I didn't know he was like that in the locker room. You don't want a lot of times while they're playing, you find out afterwards, right? So I didn't know they were, old butt heads to players and the press. And the press is who gets you in. So it's tough to know that. And I know like Murphy's probably lacking in some numbers. But, I feel like he should be in just because some other people are in. But like, how do you feel about Omar Vizquel? I feel like he should be in.
So I'm a no on Vizquel. I was even before the controversy, Okay. Great defensive shortstop, no question. He close to 3,000 hits. I mean, he wasn't a bad offensive player. He unfortunately was in an era of Jeter and Ripken and A-Rod and Garciaparra where shortstops became an offensive benefit instead of a liability. That's the only reason Ozzie Smith is in the Hall of Fame. I promise. He wasn't an offensive juggernaut, but Vizquel is akin to better offensively even than Ozzie Smith. But grew up in an era when, unfortunately, just he was overshadowed.
Yeah, Barry Larkin.
And so I don't think he should get in. But
I just remember him, just how he played, and just in awe. I mean, he's just one of those guys. You watch him; he's just so smooth with everything he did.
Yeah, and I get it. I get if you say I would vote for. I'm not gonna, say you're an idiot. I get it. I understand the argument.
Well, it doesn't break my heart. I don't go to bed every night crying because Marvin Scales not it.
Right.
But I just can, like I said before, you can almost make a case for every one of those guys to be in. And it was kind of a shock to me to only see Fred McGriff. So let me understand how they did the voting. Did each person only have 3 votes and a player had to have 4 votes?
So there were 16 people on the panel, 8 players, some executives, and a couple of writers, right?
Right.
And so you had Frank Thomas, Greg Maddux, Ryan Sandberg, Jack Morris were guys on the panel. So Hall of Fame players, which I truly believe is a great way. Like, if they don't think you're a Hall of Famer, nobody else should. They played with you, kind of thing. And so it's very telling about the way the votes worked out. But 16 people voting, you had to get 12 to get in. And yeah, I already saw the new Pop Fly. It's the Murph. It's called Murph. Anyway, you had to get 12 votes. Each person could vote for up to 3 people. So if you do, 16 times 3, there's only 48 votes total. And he had to get 12. So in theory, 4 people could get in if it was worked out where all 48 votes went to 4 people and each person got 12, right? That's in theory. But I doubt very seriously. The only thing I don't like about the Veterans Committee is the balloting is not released to the public. That's what the results are, but not who voted for who and who didn't vote for who. That's what I'm meaning.
Because they said only Bonds and Clemens only get 4 votes,
4 or less. So it was the order of the votes received were McGriff unanimous 16. Next was Mattingly with 8. Murphy had 7, or Schilling had 7. Murphy had 6, and then everybody else got 4 or less. They don't tell you the actual number. I'd love to know did Bonds only get 1 or 2 or?
Well, that's I thought for sure where they had players voting, Bonds and Clemens and those guys would get votes, right? I thought for sure if they didn't get in, it was going to be close. But when you get less than 4, I don't see them ever getting in if that's the case.
Yeah, they definitely have a tough road now. The voting base has spoken, and it did not. It is not pro that. Honestly, it would be kind of cool. I'd be very curious. I need to do this survey on my channel or something where I ask people who they would vote for, because I think the public perception or feelings towards the steroid era, I think there are more people that think like I do than think like, no, they cheated. Because if you cheat, like, what cheating isn't okay? If you're only going to say steroids is, which, okay, enhancement, I get it. I get why that's cheating. I don't like it. I'm not like pro steroids or anything, but I'm less upset about that and more upset about just regarding an entire era of the game where it was rampant and pitchers were doing it, hitters were doing it. You know, it's just kind of one of those things where you how do you distinguish? And then how do you distinguish the cheating? Do you say, well, throwing illegal pitches is okay, or, you know, banging on trash cans? To me, then if you're anti-cheating, then no member of the entire 2017 Astros team should ever get in the Hall of Fame.
Exactly.
Because they cheated, you know. And I'm not for technology, but I think if you can steal a team's signs, or, I mean, you could argue Bobby Thompson's home run was cheating because the Giants were using ways to communicate pitches from.
Well, didn't Bucky Dent come out and say he had to use somebody else's bat and they thought it was loaded?
Yeah,
bat.
I mean,
on his home run. With
yeah, you got bats, you've got all kinds of stuff that are cheating. If you draw that line and say all cheaters, then take out about half the guys in the Hall of Fame, because they were always looking for an edge. They were always looking for a way to be better.
Right.
And I don't know. It's just, it seems kind of a little sanctimonious or self-righteous to just condemn them in totality. I don't like the argument of Bonds was a Hall of Famer before he cheated. I think that's a weak argument because now I do agree that if he would have quit and not done roids, he would have still been a Hall of Famer. Mm-hmm. But he did, you know, and so that kind of, it's not saying
my thoughts on the roids, Mike, and is baseball knew it was going on. They turned a blind eye to it because it was saving the sport at the time. And now you're gonna sit there and make them be punished for it because a writer saw something in Mark McGwire's locker that blew this all up. I mean, that's what's happening. And, you know, and the fans, you know, as soon as you hear somebody cheated, we love to tear down winners anyway. It's just the way humanity works. So, you know, and Bonds wasn't one of the nicest guys out there, but, you know, I don't care what steroid he was taking. He didn't see a lot of pitches in this last couple of years, and the ones he did see, he hit a long ways.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's something special. And I said this the other day. I believe if Pujols last year was in that era, people would think he was doing it, because what he did this year was incredible. Give him nothing but, you know, that was just special what he put on in his last season, half of the season. And you were exactly right on that video. If you had a chance to see him, go see him. I didn't get a chance to see him, but I tried to watch as many at bats and stuff like that. And I love what the Cardinals did for those three guys for their last game. That was special.
Wainwright, Molina, Pujols. Yeah, that was certainly cool. So roids is such a, you know, so many people are so against it or for it or not for it, but just you either think they should be in or you don't. We don't need to. Let's move on to more fun topics, because that's
right. I just wanted to touch on that, and as usual, that topic always goes off the rails. So you said in 4 years, because I know a lot of our friends in the Philly area, especially, are really upset that Richard Allen didn't get in with the last Veterans Committee. So you're saying that's 3 years from now, because the last one was last year, right?
They'll be. They're actually not next year, but the year after. Again, after last year, they changed it all up and kind of resequenced them all, and so I think they're in 2 years. I was more upset on that vote about Dave Parker.
Yeah, we got plenty of Pirates fans in here too, including the one we were just watching this channel before this one died. Parker. That's another one. Like you say those names, that's another one. You know, there's the little kid in me comes out and goes, "Yep, Parker." At least have the hat go in. You know that the Pirates hat.
Those Pirates, you know, even in the '80s, like you could make a really strong argument for Al Oliver deserving to be in the Hall of Fame. Bill Madlock. And so they're just these fringe guys that never really, again, the writers didn't vote them in after, and back then it was 15 years you were on the
how
ballot.
about the group of Pirates that played with Bonds? I mean, you had Van Slyke, Bonilla in the outfield. You had what's his face behind the plate doing the splits, catching. I mean, that was a pretty good team in itself.
Tony Pena.
Yeah, Pena.
Yeah, but and they were good. You know, poor Bonds couldn't perform in the playoffs. But
right.
I never thought of Bonilla as Hall of Famer. I certainly didn't think so of Van Slyke or certainly Tony Pena. No, he was a good player, no question. Right. Stayed around a long time.
Well, I love my catchers. You know.
Me too.
I know you do.
Go ahead.
Let's move off the Hall of Fame just for a second, and we only got a few more minutes with you, and I got to touch on this because you're the guy that got me into the registry. I've told you this numerous times.
I'm very sorry, by the way.
No, and I love it, but here lately, it's been, what do I do? Because as a Carter fan, most of my Carter cards are in people's collections, right? I pretty much have to find them. Like I bought somebody's super collection. So I have a stack to get graded. A lot of food and beverage and O-Pee-Chee cards, very good condition. I know with PSA right now, this isn't the Ty situation, but should we I don't know if I really should be asking you to give should you be telling me to send in my stuff to PSA right now? Or should we as collectors kind of, like Ty says, vote for it with our wallets for a little bit? I'm caught in a rock and a hard place now, how I feel about this. Because it's not just Ty having these situations. Our buddy JT's having a hard situation too.
He is. Okay. I literally just did a video about this that's on Bench Clear that I posted about an hour and a half ago, because we only have ourselves to blame for what PSA is and what they aren't. Mm-hmm. They are not great at customer service. Whose fault is that? Ours. Look, they have some responsibility. I'm not trying to absolve them of responsibility here.
Right.
But you got the collector. Why do they use? You have to think, why do we use them? Well, because we like the registry. If there was a universal set registry that included all companies, you would be less inclined to use PSA, wouldn't you? Yeah. Right? I am different. I also like the homogeneous look of my collection. I like it to be consistent, and I don't want all different size cases and different color labels and all that stuff. Some people don't care. Great. I just do, and so it's registry, consistency. And look, if I'd have started with, the only reason I started with PSA to begin with 15 years ago was there were the most choices of cards to get. SGC didn't grade a lot of as much, there weren't as many SGC slabs out there. So if I wanted a 65 tops Jim Cott, I had an easier time finding that through PSA, buying a PSA one than SGC. And so I have 100+ cards at PSA right now that are going for my 4-decade set registry. So I feel you. So yes, I would say yes, send them in, which is counterintuitive to, there's problems, but they're still they grade 1 million cards a month.
Right. Well, I already got a pack for JT in the morning,
But let's say they had a problem with 100 cards, which sounds like a lot, and it is if you're one of the 100 people that owns those cards. But out of 1 million cards, that's a tenth of a percent. It's just such a small number. That's per month. So you can imagine how many problems they have. It may not even be that high. We don't know, because everybody else, unlike Ty, signs that NDA because they want their money.
Right.
And honestly, Ty was about to, the background of that is Ty was about to sign it, and then he actually read it.
Yeah, that's what I kind of got from his video. I was like, man.
Yeah, he's like, wait a second, I can't sign this because I'm going to talk about this, and then they'll sue me for breaking my agreement with them, blah, or what. You know, they probably wouldn't, but why risk? Why would you want to risk any type of legal tussle with the mighty PSA?
Right.
And so we have put PSA in the position that they are in because not only do we as collectors prefer them for the registry or whatever other reasons, but also on the secondary market, if we valued an SGC 9 and a PSA 9 the same, you would use SGC, right? We don't. The PSA is 20% higher, 10, whatever percent. And if you're selling cards and your job is to put food on the table, you want to get the most value for your cards, you're going to send them to PSA and hope you don't have an issue.
Right.
Right. I mean,
and of course, you know, these two issues hit close to home with us because there's people we know, people you talk to on a daily basis. You know, JT, me and him will talk every once in a while, but these are good friends of yours. So it's close in your friendship group, you know, so it makes it sound worse where you're not really hearing it all around. But, you know, that's that, right? I already got my pack ready to go to JT in the morning. I just wanted to get what your thought was because, you know, I think you were the first one that I ever heard say Frankenstein collection.
Yeah.
Did you say that? Right. Yeah. I've used it ever since I heard you say it because I do. I have GMA, PSA, KSA, Mint. I don't care. I want the card. But of course, I want to get it. There's cards that I would like to get them in a grade. So that way, you know, in the hockey ones, sometimes you have to go with the ones that grade up north. So it's a little different. But I really appreciate you jumping on with me tonight, Mike, and spending some time and explaining to me on the Hall of Fame. I got a little enlightened tonight, and I appreciate you for that.
But doesn't it make sense that you either way is not wrong, whether you have a Frankenstein collection or you want it all to be the same?
Yeah, I understand because as much as I like my SGC stuff and how my Star Wars and my Batman 66 collection looks in it, I hate because they don't store in the same boxes that I have my other stuff. It drives me absolute crazy.
And it's silly that we let that kind of stuff bother us as collectors, but we do.
Yes.
I built the Beast. The Beast will only hold PSA. All my SG, I say all of them. I've got literally less than 5, but I have to put them wonky in there and it screws everything else up and it pisses me off. And it's like my OCD is not doing well when I have to deal with that.
Right.
So it's, I see both sides. I get it. Look, if all things were equal, yeah, you'd pick the company that gives you better customer service, but things are not equal. And that was my point on the video. And we've made it not equal. We, the hobby, are the ones that put PSA, say that they're worth more. Why? Why is it worth more? It shouldn't be. SGC and PSA have similar grading standard.
And the same thing. Yeah, I don't understand that because we all have a high confidence in SGC and PSA. I have a high confidence in CSG. Maybe not everybody does.
CSG,
BGS. You know, I have high confidence in those, and the rest of them I really don't. First time I bought KSA and Mint was at the Chantilly show, which I missed you by a day. I'm kind of upset about that.
Well, you didn't know it was coming.
I didn't know it. You showed up, and I was like, "What?" I saw the video. But you know, I talked to the hockey guys that were there, and there's one guy there that was at the National. I wanted to remember his name, but man, was he just a source and a wealth of information for me. He wasn't trying. I felt like he wasn't trying to get over on me. He was very knowledgeable. And the stuff that I'm talking about, I didn't even buy from him. I bought it from a table across from him, but I bought stuff from him as well. And he was just like an open book. And that's what this hobby should be. You know, it's I think it is for the most part. But
I want to answer Gary's question.
Yeah.
Big Scott.
Oh, Bink.
Yeah, it says which is more money, the PSA offer of 700 or the money Ty can make off his videos? First of all, it's a fair question. We, because it's not just Ty, we both own Bench Clear, have made. I just looked because I was curious when I saw that question. I went and looked. Like $420 we've made off the 2 videos that he did about it. So currently it's less. Eventually it might be more. But I promise you, we didn't make the videos because we were trying to make more than the $700. That's a we honestly, Ty should get, or Ty should get the money, and we should be able to discuss it and whatever. If people watch it,
y'all are still sending cards to them.
Yes,
through there, all those cards y'all are getting, from the, y'all.
cardboard.
Yeah, my goodness, what y'all should be on a personal basis. And what's surprising is what's the gentleman's name he talked to that used to work with Upper Deck?
Oh, Chris Carlin.
Chris Carlin, because I always want to call him George Carlin. Chris Carlin. When he got involved, I'm surprised stuff didn't get done like this, because I know when he was with Upper Deck, man, if he heard you had a problem with tops, he would contact you.
Yeah.
So that was a little shocking to me. And things did get done. It just wasn't done the way,
well,
Ty would like it to be done.
Look, we shouldn't, Ty or no influencer should get special treatment, period.
Right.
You should treat everybody the right way.
Yeah.
Honestly, Chris didn't even know, like Ty was going down. We were delivering. He was going down there to deliver cards for Chasing Cardboard in person. Met Chris Carlin. And while all that was getting set up, Ty had already put out his first video of his frustration with the Trey Lance card. And so they finally connect the dots. And Chris is like, oh shit, this is the same. You're that Ty? Okay. And it still hasn't fixed, like even knowing that, it's still not resolved, right?
And I want to just interject 1 minute. Y'all made a great point on the one video where you were a little disgusted how well the first video did, right? Why that video so many people wanted to watch, but when you have something positive to say, or you just want to talk about the hobby, you get half the views or whatever, right?
Yeah, that was just video about the negative, like why do people rush towards the
and I'll be the first one to admit, I have left. I do leave messages, or I look forward to y'all's little thing every week, Mike and Ty on the Fly. And me and him have had discussions on there, and they haven't been the greatest, because sometimes Ty confuses me, because 1 week he'll talk about one thing, and then the next week it kind of sounds like it's opposite. But, I'm not going to talk about Ty because Ty's not here. We're talking to Mike. So the reason I say that is because I'm not trying to sit there and look like a butt kisser, where I think y'all talking about it on y'all's video is not to make money. It's to bring to light, this is what's going on in this situation. I really do think that.
Well, that's the truth of it.
Right.
The fact that particular video, we've done other videos like that haven't gotten 40,000 views or whatever. So it's not like every video, just because we do something negative. But there's no question the Chasing Cardboard success has carried over to Bench Clear. More people are subscribing to Bench Clear every month. And, we try to be honest and transparent. That's just who we are as people. We're far from perfect. I don't know everything. Ty doesn't know everything. In fact, Ty and I are quite different collecting wise in the way we look at I'm a collector. He's a dealer. He's a full-time dealer. So when you said we're still sending cards to PSA, absolutely, we have to, because you get so much more, and especially if we're consigning for somebody and our goal is to get them the most money. Yeah, it may take longer. Yeah, one or two things might get screwed up along the way. But because the Trey Lance was not a Chasing Cardboard card, that was a tie card that he had pulled
that
from
he opened with him as kids. Yeah.
So, yeah, that's just we're trying to get the most money. Unfortunately for us, because we love SGC. I'm wearing an SGC. No, I'm wearing PSA tonight.
Yeah.
Peter's great. SGC has been nothing but great to us. And so, yeah,
I've even talked to Peter. I got introduced to Peter this year at the show, and he took time to talk to me for a few minutes. So Peter talks to all of us little guys.
Yeah, super great, down to earth dude, loves the hobby,
Right.
And I don't know that PSA loves the hobby. In fact, you could make an easy argument that they don't.
Well, I feel that way with Fanatics coming in and PSA. I felt that way with Tops before Fanatics. It's strictly a business and how much money we can make. So,
but the reality, I don't blame them for that either.
No, it is a business. They're part of the problem is we're as collectors thinking they're like collectors too. Because the first thing everybody goes, oh, he collects. Yeah, money.
Yeah. It's like $100 bills. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, we want to think that everybody's looking out for us, and they have zero obligation to do so. And we want to think and live in this fairyland where they do.
Mm-hmm.
And the truth is, I wish they did, but they don't. And I'm not upset. It's just the reality. I'm not even mad about it. Just I accept it, and I do the best I can. We do the best we can by putting out content and just making our own little world of hobbyists, right?
Yeah.
Like we've done for the last decade or so that I've been doing it.
Yeah, and I mean, well, you could just look at the last couple of shows we've been to. I mean, you go to Dallas and all the guys from across the country. I hope I'll be there next year for one with Dave, Midlife Card Crisis. But when we were at the National that last day, we pretty much took up the whole counter space around.
We did.
Poor Ryan's.
Yeah. No, B-Roth was like, "You guys get out of here. I got cards to sell." We were all
B-Roth's back here. We just all kind of conjugated back here because everybody was leaving, or like some people were leaving, some were staying. And we
were on the way out, but I can't wait for this year. I'm already booked, ready to roll. So
yeah, we were. Some of us last night were talking, trying to figure out where, because right now the way the hotels are set up, it's not the ones that we usually get. They seem to be booked up. So
yeah, we booked the Hyatt. We were at the Hyatt Regency, which is the one down the way there. Mm-hmm. Still in the same block, but we booked it this year during the National. The last day, Garrett got on and booked it. So there's like 6 of us staying there. It's crazy.
Right.
Because we have got a suite and everything. So it'll be fun. And yeah, I think the hotel thing will work. Like you're not going to not get a hotel.
Well, I think I was telling Dave the other night that I remember 2 years ago, it was kind of the same way before New Year's. And then all of a sudden in February, they had listings at all those places. So
that's because the National will block out rooms, and they're taken. You can't just be they don't know that you're coming for them. They think you're just traveling to Chicago. Once that opens up on the National website, you won't have a problem.
Yeah, I actually bought my ticket the other day, so
good deal.
Yeah, so I'm ready to go. I tell my work that's my 1 week, that's my vacation. I've noticed too here lately, Mike, you've been getting more and more a little bit opening newer stuff. Is that just because the bench clear connection, or
definitely you notice what products it is? I'm not getting Topps products. I'm getting Panini products. So start guessing at who's sending me those. No, I did open Update just for fun. I'm ready. I want Topps. I haven't seen any Topps Holiday yet. I love that product. It's just fun for me. Have you found any yet? There it is. I haven't found any yet. So.
One on the shelf today. One on the shelf.
I love that product, and I'll try to I try to do a set of that every year, and
you doing that last year.
I have Topps holiday boxes. I keep one unopened every year just for giggles.
Well, I love they put more thought and imagination in the Topps holiday than they do any other product they do all year.
Yeah, I love looking for the, elf in the background in the stands, or the Santa hat on Mike Trout, or whatever.
Right, lights, whatever it is. It's just like
it's
2019. My Pete Alonso, he has Santa socks on, or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
And that was a tough find for me for my Pete 2019 run, and I was happy to get it. But man, that was
they'll do a base version of each. Let's take Trout base. They don't have a short print. They don't have a super short print, and then they'll have a super short print. Some of them have up to 3 variations. And last year I pulled the Trout super short print out of it, and I still have it. I need to send it in. I'd love to have that slabbed. I think it'd look cool. I love it. It's a great product. So no, you're not going to see me breaking boxes like Mike O or anything like that anytime soon. Not to worry.
I saw that, and I was like, what's going on with Mike this year? Getting into eggnog a little early.
Right.
Going out to the ranch and picking out something just to crack open. I just had to ask that. That was my other question I had in my back of my mind. I just wanted to make sure.
You're not losing me from the vintage world.
Yeah, and I mean, you've been, for me and my little bit of vintage I buy, you've been a great help to me when I talked to you at the National a couple years ago when I picked up the Clemente and Satchel. I try in a little bit more into the vintage. I have been doing the Clemente Playing Days run, but I'm not doing it just PSA because I didn't want to shoehorn me into one thing. I wanted to be able to put my money in the best card I could get.
Sure.
For that one.
So, I wish it worked where that was true and you could just, you know what I mean? The whole point of grading is buy the best card. If you can buy
I've had so much fun doing that, Mike. Just finding stuff, I don't want to call it oddball, but just different things that I didn't know was out there. It's been a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
Been doing that. And I found the Clemente booth at the National this past year, and ended up a high school team I played against. The coach was the guy running the booth.
Oh,
we got to talking, and I think I was wearing my Virginia shirt that day.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So that was a pretty cool find. What vintage card is on your radar, Scott? Well, right now on my radar, I have some bucket list stuff. I wish I would have pulled a trigger on the Campanella. I think I talked to you about it at the Chantilly one, Don, with the green background. I think it's the one that's got the 3 different backgrounds, the Bowman. It's green, yellow, and gray, I think. And it was an authentic because it had a 1 pinhole in it. But it looked better to sit beside the 4.5, and it was a third of the price or whatever. I wish I would have pulled the trigger on that one. Because I'm trying to get catchers more and more into my catchers. I show off this picture as much as I can behind my shoulder here with Carter, Berra, Fisk, and Bench. I've really been trying to more and more into the catchers. Love the catchers.
Well, I am now 20 minutes overdue to go to my wife. So
yeah, I was sitting here. That's what I was thinking you 20 minutes ago. I don't want Julie mad at me, just you.
No.
I'm upset I didn't have a Norman interruption tonight like we did last time. But,
man, I've had Norman interruptions more often lately. He's getting to be a little prima donna. I gotta like, Dad, I want some screen time. I'm like, hey, come on. Well, thanks for having me on, Scott. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, Mike, thanks for answering my questions, and I feel smarter today than I did yesterday. So I appreciate that.
Well, thanks, Scott. I appreciate
See
it,
you,
man.
Mike.
Talk to you later.
All right. See ya.
Bye.
So everybody, that was Mike. He really helped me with the questions. And we had to talk, when you have Mike on, you got to talk a little PSA and grading. James says good night to Julie. Yeah, if you missed it at the beginning, I showed her my picture that I have with Cal Ripken. That was a great question, Bink, on that. I didn't even think about that angle. So that was really good. You're gonna have me for about 10 more minutes. Just want to give y'all. I know Natsman was on here before. He is at home. He gave me a really good update. It's still not great, but he's better than we thought. And he does have medication. That's why he's not on tonight. And so we're still wishing him the best of luck. And I want to touch on hashtag blue thumbs up. I am challenging our community to use that on their videos or when they're commenting on my videos or anywhere, just to show support to Natsman. The story behind that is in our group chat. If y'all familiar with JD, who's been on here quite a few times, friend of the channel. JD Sports Cards, if you haven't never been to his channel. He used to drive him crazy because it didn't matter what JD would say, it always hit the blue thumbs up. JD could say, "Is it raining at your house?" and it'll be a blue thumbs up. So it was just kind of funny. So we all call ourselves like the blue thumbs up group. I'll be doing the stand up to cancer because he made that banner. So I was like, I'm gonna keep running it. And I talked to Mike before I got on trying. And if anybody else knows, I would like to do something for cancer, maybe first of the year sometime, where some type of show. Maybe put a link to a donation, or like Mike said, taking cards in and selling them to donate for colon cancer in that man's name. Just something, to bring awareness. And I'm hoping to have somebody on that's in our card world that's going to talk cards, but can maybe enlighten us and educate us a little bit to us that is mostly men in this situation on the colon cancer. So hopefully, well, thank you, Three Rivers. It's something, I'll put my contact information in the show notes for my Hotmail and my Instagram and Facebook. So that way, if you have any ideas, any contacts, anything that we think we can do, I want to do something. And because I do feel helpless. I can tell you that. I've already lost one of my friends to bowel duct cancer, and now I have a friend with this, and it's a very helpless feeling. And I'm sure a lot of people in this chat has been in that situation. Cancer is terrible, terrible thing. So I'm gonna probably leave it a little early tonight. So that is that. I want to thank Mike again for coming on. Thank you, Julie, for letting him come on and play with us tonight. And again, he was very knowledgeable, answered all my questions, and he has opinions and he's willing to share them. And I do like that about Mike. And if you have any questions on grading or vintage or collecting at all, he's a great source. I think he puts his contact information at the bottom of all of his videos. So he'll get back to you and answer them. So until next time, like, share, tell a friend. Please contact me with any information you have. Subscribe if you haven't. And till next time, see ya.